Roads are busy. Roads have been flooded over the weekend. People have been misbehaving and behaving. And what's the advice that we have been given?
Stay off certain roads, don't go there because, we'll have to sort that out. And then there's silence. I mean, the silence is so loud that it smacks you in the face. But for some roads, you're just going to have to stay away from them. First one that we see, Raila Odinga Way here, because you couldn't even tell what was going on. And then there's Links Road in Mombasa at Nyali specifically, because that again is another situation. We're also being told that when it does rain and you're approaching, says you're outbound on Mombasa Road and you're going towards Mlolongo, there's a part where it splits between the service lane and remains on the main highway. When it rains, you do not know what is what. The visibility is non-existent.
Yes.
And so a lot of people were found in the ditch because you can't really tell. There's no demarcation between the service lane and the main highway. So certain roads you're being asked to watch out for. If you go into the sea that is South C and the sea that is South B and the sea that is then Nairobi West during these times, you also need to be very careful. Ironically, there's a part of South Sea that's called water because that's where the Water Institute is. That place is underwater.
Very nice.
So also being told to please be very careful about those areas because you just don't know how deep the stuff actually is.
It's a TVET. Water Institute is a TVET.
It's a TVET,
all right?
Yes.
So they teach people practically.
This is what
they need water, okay, to teach people about.
Step outside,
water.
Please, and see what I'm telling you. Right? Okay. There's a place also on James Gichuru, and it's going out towards the direction of Rironi.
This is an interesting one. It was in the news. So let me tell you what happened.
Please do.
Yesterday, Senior Counsel Paul Moite tweeted, bringing some attention to Kipchumba Murkomen. He said, CS Murkomen, all the underpasses on the Nairobi-Nakuru Road from Odhero to Rironi area are a nightmare, not just for small cars, but trailers and tankers too. Waterlogged, deep craters and rocks sticking out. Please use the road maintenance levy that we pay for every liter of fuel to fix these. Come on. Well,
Quickly.
Come on is me. And, as you're going from Westlands all the way to Rironi, that's Maimahiu turnoff, both sides of the road, there are some underpasses.
Yes, they are.
Those underpasses are not done. So you can see the road is being done. The bridge has been built.
But Upper Chini,
which is now connecting guys who are coming from one side so they can cross over to the other side of the road.
Not finished.
They are basically craters. And what Paul Moite is saying is true. They are craters. So when it rains like this,
it fills up.
It just fills up. So it becomes a dam. And Kipchumba is like, yeah. You know what, Senior Counsel? You're very right. James Gichuru to Rironi underpasses do flood because their respective outfall drains have not been completed. Oh, really? Oh, wow. This includes Zambezi, Chungamali and Tilisi, Gichini. For Zambezi and Chungamali, the acquisition of land to construct a pond is not done.
What? That's not what it says.
For Zambezi and Chungamali, the acquisition of land to construct a pond is not done. I do not know what pond and road. I don't know the link, but
pond.
That one is blue economy.
Pond. Unfinished work includes service roads, the Kangemi overpass, the Gichuru interchange, the various other underpasses. Outfall drains also, plus street lights and footbridges. The James Gichuru Rironi Road has an active development contract with a huge pending bill. As you may be aware, we have unfinished roads all over the country with a cumulative pending bill of 165 billion shillings. Under the law, a road with active development contract cannot be allocated the road maintenance funds. At the same time, the contractor is waiting for some payment to resume site. So contractor not on site because
how long has this road been?
Since Jomo Kenyatta days. Okay.
I mean, this is not something that began last year.
No. So this road, basically what we are hearing from the government is that the contractor was given a contract to do the job. All right. The contractor should be getting money upon certain milestones. Contractor hits a milestone, government does not release the money that's supposed to come. So contractor gets out of sight because now contractor is not on site. So all these things, footbridges, underpasses.
The problem is whatever was built actually not deteriorates.
Yep. People have started talking about potholes on this particular road even before it's complete.
And it's not complete.
Yeah. Because of the accidents and incidences on that road, we have requested a partial budgetary support from the Treasury and have negotiated with the contractor to, upon receiving the partial payment, resume and complete most critical sections for the sake of safety. We have held extensive discussions with the leaders of Kiambu, led by Majority Leader National Assembly, Nairobi leaders, Governor Sakaja, MPs for Westlands, Kabete, Kikuyu, Kiambaa, Limuru, and Lari. Women Rep and Senator for Kiambu have all called on me several times to discuss the completion of that road. All things constant, we should commence works on the critical areas within the next 4 weeks. June. You're asking when 4 weeks, Nini? It's June. Okay? That's when we're going to get some partial budgetary support. This is a road that was budgeted for when it started. And every year there's money allocated to this particular project to continue.
Contractor was on site?
Contractor left site.
Okay.
Because no money.
All right.
So now the negotiation is, wacha nikutafutie 20,000 hivi, at least urudishe tractor on site.
In fact, what you do, kuna kale kashimo pale, wacha tukupatie pesa ya maram.
Weka mchanga.
Ili, yes, you know.
And maram ni expensive.
Yes.
Chukua tu red soil hapo kwa shamba yake.
Na ili usipate shida pia tunakutumia pesa kidogo ya petroli. Man, that road has been built forever.
Yeah.
And you know, we never start building roads until you are certain of a budgetary allocation. So all these years, you know, our budgeting process is yearly.
Yep.
So what are you telling us has been happening all these years?
Those questions need to be asked. They need to be asked of Okuria Tani and James Masharia.
Yes, all those people. It's not just guys. Murkomen. He's having all these eggs staring at him. This is not his doing. He found this.
You know, it's good for us to face reality.
Yep.
We will never get out of these problems.
Oh, that's where we've gone to.
Yes.
That's reality.
That's the reality. Look at the reality, because this is nonsense. We've been doing this dalliance and this romance with, okay, fill it up with Maram. Oh, let's talk about, let's beg the exchequer for money. Oh, let us talk to Treasury and see if we can negotiate. Rubbish. Come on. In what warped society do you have a road that has been under construction for decades? Is that not what we're talking about?
Yeah, no, it's about a decade.
A decade? Even a decade. A road. What is the length of this road in terms of kilometers? What are we talking about? There was a contractor on site. There was just look at the process for which something like this was supposed to be done. Until in 2024, we're complaining about an issue. And yeah, you're right, CT. This thing happened historically. So the CS is giving explanations for something that maybe he doesn't really get. He was nowhere near this thing, even when it started.
Nowhere. But he's now the minister.
Yes. And
so
you have to deal with issues.
Explain
what's going on.
Yes.
But look at the history of this thing. It is misappropriation, it is mismanagement, it is just general bad manners. That you start something and you say, well, you know, because of ABC, we're just not going to finish it. You actually are making a conscious decision to not get things done.
165 billion shillings.
Come on, has already been
for
spent.
pending roads. For pending roads across the country. 165 billion shillings.
Excuse me, Eric.
And the solution we are coming up with is, yes, go ahead.
These are not new projects.
No. It's pending. Ongoing projects.
Thank you.
165 billion shillings, not the projects are not completed because 165 billion shillings has not come out to the various contractors.
Do you now perhaps want to agree with me when I say we're never going to get out of this thing?
Nope, we are not.
It's not going to end. This is rubbish. By the time your children have children, we'll still be discussing this story. After all, their children...
We'll have started a new project.
My dear, I said I'm going to use Enterprise Road as an example.
From Rironi to Nini we'll have started. It's called Mau Summit. From Rironi to Mau Summit we'll have started. Meanwhile, Westlands to Rironi will not be complete. Meanwhile, Machakos Junction to Kitangala Junction will not be complete.
Enterprise Road. There are people whose mothers went to the delivery ward passing this Enterprise Road that was like this. Yeah. Those children have finished university today. You people are wondering why I'm telling you this thing is not going to finish. Hey, God in heaven. And those are roads that you want to pass to go from point A to point B. After all, is this not road A, B? Is there road B? Oh, road A, road C, road
Yeah.
1.
So
That's how you get to them going
there'll
from
be a
here.
solution to this.
CT.
What's the solution?
Do you know? And I think sometimes
So we'll build an expressway.
we basically we need to have a serious conversation, because I can
telling you.
see what Kipchumba is trying to do. He's trying to balance. You can see, okay, so if I go and ask for the money that these guys need, I'll be told by Njogonandongo,
Where?
we don't have money. Where we are trying to sack people who have fake degrees so that we can gather money. Now you're
can't
asking
even
me
send
to give you.
interns to go on.
Hey, yeah, you've not
And
seen people are on
money
strike. We're looking
for a road which money was already allocated for.
Yeah.
And I now give you more. What are you
Now
smoking?
the problem is that money will come from the National Treasury, go to this contractor, and the contractor will not be doing what they're supposed to be doing. They'll be, doing some patch-up work. The patch-up work will be all right. So, we needed to have constructed this road. We needed to have had X number of footbridges here. So because we can't have footbridges, let's do this. Let's just chora the road and create zebra crossings and put bumps. That's what's going to happen.
And rumbled strips.
And rumble strips.
Hey, God in heaven.
These underpasses, okay, so now these underpasses cannot work. We have underpasses, they're wide enough actually to be on like dual carriage on the underpasses. Like the one at Tilisi. Huge wide, but it's an entire river down there. So what we are going to do now, this underpass, let's just close off one side, let's just open one side, so now at least vehicles can be passing. Mpaka hii mvua iishe. But millions of shillings is going to be spent to do that mpaka mvua iishe thing. And once the money is finally released, the contractor will not have enough to go and do the job that he was supposed to have done in the first place. That's the fear that I have for this road.
Ask you a question.
If you drive along that road just before you come in, I was actually on that road sometime last week, and it started raining, and it was in the evening.
Were you able to see anything?
Oh, you
Visibility,
took a picture, you took a
horrible.
video and sent it to us. Yes, you did.
No, that was a different
That was a
road.
different one. Okay.
This particular one, you see the barriers that they put in between the road, those concrete blocks.
Yeah.
Okay, there is no footbridge.
Oh dear.
So you can imagine somebody who has arrived at Zambezi or any of those areas, Kangemi. They have come from Nairobi. They live on the other side of the road. And you've come from Nairobi with your child, maybe you had come from hospital. Because I actually saw one woman carrying a baby, a bag, and another small child
Crossing the road.
trying to cross the road. So they do 3 lanes on one side, the Valaiter Matatu, run, come to this Kabaria, stand in between the road,
There you go.
mother look, then mother estimate that those vehicles are far. And it's raining. And mother is carrying baby and holding another baby.
And carrying a bag.
And mother has to then think of maneuvering the next 3 lanes, crossing the road. And vehicles are coming, it's raining, poor visibility, some rumble strips have been put somewhere. Guy comes and hit rumble strips. And I was like, oh my goodness. When you talk about the statistics of road accidents and you see majority are pedestrians, this is what happens. Now, you get kidogo money from Dr. Chris Kipto. It goes into this contractor. This contractor is told now, but I sort out. Contractor is just going to remove one barrier, put higher bumps, and make this a zebra crossing that somebody has to cross
On a highway.
on a highway.
Please remember, on a highway.
And those bumps are not going to be marked. They will not be visible when it's raining. So you come in and you're flying over that bump.
When you hit that, ooh,
And you find somebody who's carrying a baby and walking with a baby and a bag and
full impact.
yes, this is what we, like you say, these children that were crossing the road, this is what they know.
That's that's
But
how we know
they
the
do
road is
not know.
supposed to be.
They don't know
Anything else because
else.
they've never seen anything else.
Yeah.
Look, this is and I actually want to ask because it's easy to get upset and say, okay, let's look at this thing properly. Because this Rironi Road that we're talking about is not the only one in the country. Of course,
No.
we've given Enterprise as an example. Fidelis said, I used Enterprise Road in 2009 when it had been dug up. 2009 when it had been dug up. I joined college. I went out of the country, came back, and now have a family, and I'm almost retiring. Nabado in
2009 was before the constitution.
Yes, no. Omo. It's interesting because
Amos Wako was an attorney general.
Yes.
Amos Wako went into politics. He served 2 terms as senator.
Senator for
He's
Busia.
now chilling. He's
Yeah.
retired.
Yes.
Nabado Enterprise is saying, I see you. Enterprise is saying, hi. Let me tell you. Black says, how about doing the journalistic part and getting the information on who the contractor is? I have pictures of that of that board. I will, in fact, tomorrow, I promise you, I'll tell you who it is, because I have pictures. I just don't have them here.
Of Enterprise.
Right? Of Enterprise. And he said, and telling us who and bring them to ask and put it on public record. Let me tell you something, yeah? Here. All of these things that we're speaking of have been budgeted for.
Yeah.
The budgeting process is not wake up in the morning, I'm sitting at my desk and say, oh, by the way, there's a road that needs to be built. How much do you have? You go through it. People bid, right?
Yep.
A tender is given after this comes out of the realization that this thing needs to be done.
Yep.
It is then awarded. The contract is awarded, and that's how you have that fancy billboard where you have all the names, contractor, etc., etc., etc. It is given to somebody. Money is released. It is put in the cycle whereby we know that money will be released for this project. 80%, and this is not me that's saying, this is ministry who is saying, 80% of these pending projects of infrastructure that have stalled, what is the reason why they have stalled? Money. That the contractor will leave site because they say we have not been given the money that we need to complete the project. So what do? They pack their load, they go. In some cases, they'll even leave the vehicle,
The
that you
machinery
give them,
there.
machine, they leave it there and say, you people are not serious.
Yep.
Get out, leave me alone.
Yep.
80% of these pending projects, the reason why they've not been completed is because money has not been given.
Yep.
The question for me is not who the contractor is. The question for me is, when you budget for a project such as this, what is your plan? Don't you think that in order for it, if you've paid the fella and he's not, he or she has not finished, that's a totally different case. But if the person is on ground to finish the project and you who has commissioned the project do not pay them, how exactly do you imagine that this thing is supposed to finish? And then what do we have? We have this thing where people come and put rumble strips and zebra crossings on bumps because you've not done the thing properly. It's not been completed. So you have this thing where people are playing Russian roulette with their lives every day on Enterprise, trying to move from one side of the road to the other. You're trying to maneuver around. Are we coming or going? Are we inbound or outbound? We're trying to escape gullies and all sorts of things, trying to get from Mombasa Road to Road A or Road C. For goodness sake. Let me tell you, it is not a matter of, pending project. It is bad manners.
It's complete, absolute.
It is craziness.
Yep.
It is craziness.
Yep.
And that's what I'm telling you. It is not going to end. Because you start asking yourself, these are highways. Boss, these are highways. These are major roads that are being used. If you ask yourself, if this is the situation that's going on, and guess what? All this noise that we're making is because rain has come. If there was no rain, do you think that explanation that was being given about Zambezi and about a pond being built in the middle of nowhere?
Let me tell you, we've asked about that road a number of times.
Yeah, come on. But now the explanation that's being given is that you'll be told, because it has rained and it has happened.
In the next 4 weeks, we are going now at least to start seeing something. Okay?
What, Eric, do you think is going to happen with roads that are interstate? They will never be done. They will never be constructed. There are roads in South C, there are roads in South B, there are roads off Okoh Road, there are roads behind here, Mombasa Road, closet towns of Nairobi, that for the foreseeable future will not be constructed. Because if this is the situation on your major roads, which people are plying every day, what do you expect to happen? We have conversations for 2 reasons, so that people can continue talking about them or that people can do something about them. This is not going to change. It's best the reality sat up and hit you in the face for you to realize this is what you're dealing with over and over again. It's not going to change.
What do we need to do to make it change?
Come on.
I think we just need to look back. Okay, so for example, here is Kipchumba, all right? He's appointed the CS for transport. He comes in and the figure of 165 now, I think is just, even the time when we hosted him here, he talked about the 165 billion shillings of pending bills on national road projects. Okay? He finds that. He goes to the airport, he finds the airport is leaking, he does some kidogo changes, he removes the manager, he brings in a new board, but he does not ask, so how did we end up procuring this generator and bringing the generator here and not installing the generator? Or can we start installing? That answer, he does not get the answer. He comes and finds a project that was supposed to have been completed completely, called the expressway. Up road done, down road left as, a cattle truck. So he asks, so what was supposed to happen here? He's told there was supposed to have been money allocated for this in the budget. 8 billion shillings is like 8 billion. Tunaweza pata 8 billion, hatuwezi pata 8 billion. Can we just do it maybe with less than money? So 3 billion. Kipchumba has come in, has found a festering wound, right? And Kipchumba is now just dealing with, how do we manage this wound? Can we just wash the wound? Can we just,
So we don't have to chop off the leg?
Can we give this patient some painkiller? We are not dealing with the actual wound. That's the problem that I have. I can see where he's coming from. He's like, oh my goodness, I found all these problems. But fix it. And fix it by, even if it means that you look back to the past and call in the minister who was there before, those that were there before you. If it's James Macharia, call him and ask him, so, okay, this is it. If it's the Kenya Roads Board, because actually it even goes from the minister, it goes to the Kenya Roads Board. Kenya Roads Board, these are the roads that you said, this is it. Money was allocated for these roads. So you've said, you, Kura, you shall do this road and the other. Kenha, you shall do this road and the other. You, the rural one is called what? Kera, you shall do this and the other. Why are these roads incomplete? Why do we have these roads incomplete?
Actually, you know what?
The management of the Kenya Roads Board should be answering those questions.
Absolutely. You know what? You're right. I think about it because my mother had a crack in one wall, and the guy came and they said, you know what? This is nice, but I can plaster this thing, okay? And we can go for maybe another 9 months. But at some point, I'm going to need to come back.
You'll call me again.
You call me. And we need to now go down and find out what exactly is causing this. It could be a pipe that's burst in the wall, something. So, madam, what I urge you to do right now is we need to bring down this wall, all right? And check if there's a pipe that's broken. Let us fix that pipe, and then now we put the thing. That's exactly what you're saying. Where was the problem originally?
Yep.
Somebody chop money? Did somebody do a poor job? Did somebody not do? What was it? Let's fix that. Because you have so many latent issues for which the cause is not being looked at.
And we're adding on to them.
And just building on top of. And that's why I'm saying the reality is that we're never going to get out of it. So you need to look at the very beginning, what caused all of this, and then fix it from there. We'll be talking about this thing forever.
If we have overcommitted in road projects beyond what our budget can afford, let's come out and say it.
We can't do this.
This is what we did. We made a mistake. So can we stop everything else and just finish these roads? Okay.
No new roads.
And by saying can we stop everything else, it's not waiting at it for. It's actually putting aside the money in the budget to complete the roads and say that these are the priority roads and they need to be completed. You can't have a road where people are just dying on a daily basis and you say we shall we'll be back here in about 4 months. Mombasa Road with the 3 billion shillings. Can you see a 3 billion shilling worth of work going on here? On the refurbishments on Mombasa Road.
If you put 1 billion on Mombasa Road, you think we'll not feel it?
We need to have these conversations. Fred is saying he first started using Enterprise Road with this kind of construction going on 15 years ago. 15 years ago.
And here we are.
Why would people be driving into ditches? It's because road plus ditch,
it's one.
same level.
It's one.
Nothing, no guardrails, nothing like that. And that's why, so it rains and there's a bit of water, you cannot see where the road is.
Worse still, as vehicles traverse that road, what becomes a ditch eventually becomes a crater.
Yep.
It just dug more and more and more. Water comes, sweeps what is loose. Okay, vehicles come, loosen more. So that process continues.
Yeah, because what we saw very many videos and clips and photos of this over the weekend, right?
Yes.
Roads where basically just vehicles have tipped over. Even in Kitengela, vehicles have just, you do not know where the road ends.
And it is not your small vehicle, the doo-doo.
Yeah.
It is
Big matatu.
Yeah.
Don't know where the road ends. So you just find yourself on the edge of the road. Edge of the road is the drainage. You get into that ditch.
But drainage is deep.
It's very deep. So what is it that's happening anyway? Some roads that are complete but they don't have the necessary amenities. other roads that are completely incomplete, that don't have nothing. This example of Enterprise Road is completely annoying, by the way, because we are talking about 15 years of road construction going on. So they've done the interchange with Lusaka Road. They've done all those things, but they've left a huge part of the road, a section of the road undone, with a caterpillar in the middle of the road. And you ask yourself, so what's going on here? And the same company that was involved with Enterprise Road, I think, was also involved in another road called Parklands Ring Road. That also took another more than 10 years to complete. Oh, there's a slum in between called Deep Sea. We need people to move. We need, we need to do this and the other. Took forever. But Enterprise doesn't have a slum in the middle of the road.
No, it doesn't.
So why is it not complete?
This is a question.
That's the Kenya Urban Roads Authority. It's the same one that's in charge of Ngong Road. Yeah. Ngong Road still, part of it, incomplete. The section after Lenana going all the way towards Karen, it's an up and down thing.
That incompleteness caused the death of a young Kenyan.
Yep. And not one.
Yes.
There were several deaths on that road.
Yes.
Because of the state of that road. The number of people that have died on the Rironi road, many, because of the status of construction going on. The number of people who are inconvenienced and those who have died on the section between just the Kitengela junction and the Machakos junction, dueling of a road, just takes forever. Sijui footbridge was supposed to be done at Daystar. No footbridge. Its structure's done. Footbridge was supposed to be done before Earth River, before Crystal River or Small. Not done. And you ask yourself, Ninini.
That's that thing.
Because if you go to the budget, you'll find it. It was there in the budget. If you go to the Kenya Roads Board website and you look at the projects that are ongoing, you'll find that particular road.
And if you look at the road design, you'll be amazed at the things on that design, which you do not see in reality.
Right. But what happens to a man or woman when you have been given guardianship over a project in the name of the contractor or the site engineer or whatever it is? What happens that at some point you either abandon the project or you decide not to do it right because you want to be able to eat a little bit off the top? What happens?
If it was a little bit, then those roads would be complete. It's never.
This is not a little bit.
It's never.
It's usually the amount of the project.
It's never a little bit. Yes.
Almost, they're eating everything.
And the number of people who want to be included in it. The person who bears the brunt of it is the contractor, but they get to a point where they don't even know what to do. Because there are people who give you the job. Then there are the supervisory agents like Kenha, blah, 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 blah. Now you would think it's Kenha who gives you the job. No, they don't. Then they receive instructions as to who should get that job. So when that person gets that job, what is demanded of them guarantees that that road cannot be completed. Something as simple as marking the road so that at night you can see it.
It is.
Yeah, marking the road so that you can know that you're in the middle of the road, you're on the side of the road. There's a specific paint that I'm told is mixed with crushed glass that sort of like reflects. Yes. When you find a road that has been built without, my friend, at night, it is beautiful. You know exactly where you are.
You can see where you are.
You see. When it isn't there and it rains, God's honest truth, it is a nightmare. You don't know whether you're in the middle of the road, you're on the side of the road, you're on a crevice. You don't know. You honestly don't know. Because even if you have spotlight, you can't see. And the tarmac is black. And then it's dark. It's double black.
So my question is, what happens when these things, in the design of the entire thing, these things are there?
Yes, they are.
Amazingly
so.
What happens when it's not completed? Okay, maybe the release of money, I can understand that as a reason as to why we didn't finish, because, hey man, they were supposed to pay, they didn't pay, so we had to pack up our things and go, right? Maybe I can understand that. But even for those that have been completed, what happens when you decide just not to do it right? What I mean? Okay, now, remember I told you guys about the road to my place, and I was just shouting and jubilating.
Forever.
Hey, I shouted and jubilated. Omo. Will you believe me if I tell you that there are two craters the size of...
No, those are lakes.
This one is what? Which crater is it?
Which one?
Here in...
Greater Enterprise.
No.
Which one? Longonot.
Thank you. Like Longonot. Less than 6 months after the completion of the road. So, I mean...
No, the details that you have in the planning is so that you can cost it right, okay? And it is costed appropriately.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm certain that even the incidentals and the miscellaneous are added.
Yeah.
Okay. And yet we still can't complete the road, meaning it is budgeted for, so
Yeah.
that even the thieving Kenyans who are involved in it are included in the budget.
Then, okay, they've already chopped the money.
Yes.
Why wouldn't they just finish the
No, they
thing?
don't
That's
want-
my
that-
question.
that's
I
what I'm
don't-
trying to
it's very
explain to you,
painful.
Ndu.
I don't. Anyway,
You seem to think that these are people who want to nibble. These people want to gobble.
And
There's
burp.
there's a difference. Nibble is you touch kidogo kidogo and unawacha. These ones, you want to almost swallow it whole. So there's a problem. There is no way, and you're right when you say it will not be completed.
You know, let's look at the structure of many of the companies that are doing roads in the country. Okay, just doing infrastructure projects. So the big projects, you can clearly see that this big project is being done by a company that has experience, right? And that's why you'll see many of them now going to these foreign companies. So this company has experience, has this and the other, has the wherewithal to actually take up a big project. And if you talk, and I agree with what you're saying, CT, because I've had a conversation with several engineers at Kenha and Kura and such, and they'll tell you, because the engineer at Kenha is the one who will design this road.
Yes.
They will actually design the road. They'll look at, so at this particular point, we need a bridge. At this particular point, we need to elevate the road. At this particular point, we may need a viaduct. At this point, we need now footbridges.
We need a bus stop.
We need a bus stop here. That thing is done. Design number one, it has it. Cost it, it comes to X billion shillings. I told boss, X billion, not her. This one. Where shall we get the money to do it? So what is the best that we can do with it? So engineer goes back and starts saying, okay, so what I can do is maybe I can reduce this here. This bridge is important, so the bridge stays. This number of lanes here I'd included a service lane, so maybe I can remove the service lane and then have an exit here. And then, so they reduce the design. Cost it, okay, now it's doable. Then we go to tender on this particular new design. The company that's given the job to do this comes and pitches for this particular design and says, for this, I can do it with this amount of money. Lowest bidder wins.
Takes it.
Higher. You're supposed to be funded from the exchequer. It shall be milestone funding. Do ABCD, come, we certify, we go.
Next tranche.
Next, like that. Now that's where the stupidity begins. Because this guy, by the time he was winning this tender, there were people who were there. Sharks were just telling him, you know, I want you to win this tender. I can tell you, the best guy for this job, who is not cutting corners, is quoting this much. So you quote X below, so that you can win it. So you quote X below, so you can win. So you quote X below, so you can win. And the person has already told you, because I've given you this information, because I'm giving you the job, this is what I want from it. Already. So by the time this guy is rolling on the ground, he's already decided, I am going to cut back on several issues. So finds engineer on the road. Engineer, contract has already been awarded. You are the supervising engineer. Contract has been awarded to this guy. Contractor comes and tells you, boss, the only thing I can afford to do with this kind of money now is this. I cannot do the shoulder of the road that you wanted me to do. The shoulder of the road, okay? I am going to use this less quality for the shoulder. Because look at the money that I have. Now you are the engineer, so what do you do? And you're being told, wewe ndio umesimamia hii kazi, na if we don't get a road, you're the one who's going to be sacked. Why is the contractor not finishing the road? So you find that there are so many competing interests in the completion of one road. But it's all known from the top. The problem with this road was not the design, it was with the implementation.
Right.
And we do not do anything about it. It's impunity upon impunity upon impunity.
That's it.
Impunity is making people die on our roads. Impunity is making helicopters fall off the sky. Impunity is causing all these things. And we all know. Everybody knows.
Yes.
It's impunity.
Yeah. It's not about
None of us appears to be wanting to do anything about it.
No. You remember the tragedy of the Nzui Bridge?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, that one takes the cup. Just the length of time that bridge was built, money which was allocated for it to be completed, and then allocated again, and then allocated. Now, you'd think at some point it was done. We have that tragedy. We all witnessed it. It was filmed. How the bus was taken. More money was allocated. Has that bridge been completed? Now you see, this laughter is not out of mirth. This is a coping mechanism. How on earth do we put up with such tragedies? And then how on earth do we put up with leaders who actually oversee these things?
Yeah.
How? Because, see, the rains are with us.
Yeah.
Okay, let's sit back and see. You know, we've had bridges swept away. Swept.
Yeah.
With raging floods.
Yeah.
And these waters that we're now talking about, these are special. These are heavy.
Yeah.
These are not these joker type rains where it just drizzles a little bit, rains kidogo. No. They are coming in torrents.
I think, and maybe it ties into some thought I've been having. We have a big problem which emanates from the fact that we have all together collectively politicized public service.
Yes.
Because of politicizing public service, then those who work in public service feel that they cannot do their job. If a political figure, if the political appointee comes and says this is the way to go, you only do it that way. Many in the public service will tell you, Mdosi amesema, hii matoka huko juu. I mean, we have tried telling them, but this is what they want to do. So many in public service feel helpless. Even those that know the right thing to do, they know what to do, but they feel helpless because we have completely and totally politicized our public service.
Eric, you are right.
For you to get appointment into the Kenya National Highways Authority, it's a political appointment as the boss. For you to rise up the ranks, then you've got to know how you're aligned to the political appointee of the day. For you to rise up the ranks of the roads authorities. For you to rise up the ranks of the Kenya Roads Board. For you to rise up the ranks in the Ministry of Roads and supervising all these things. You know there's politics more than merit. Even though the president was talking about merit yesterday, it's not happening in our public service.
It isn't.
A principal secretary is appointed on political consideration, not necessarily on merit. Those that have worked in public service for many years that deserve to get to that level where they can be principal secretaries do not get there.
No, they don't.
Unless you lick somebody's whatever, you will not get up there.
And sometimes even when you do.
Even sometimes when you do, you lick the wrong guy. That guy goes. Niliona ulimi yako kwa hili nani wewe enda. You don't get the job. We must depoliticize public service. We must start by saying, for example, PSs should rise up the ranks of public service.
Yes.
And should have sufficient power to actually tell the minister, no, Mr. Minister, this is not how we do things.
There's a very good reason why PSs were made accounting officers. There was a very good reason why. That's why they were called permanent. You know why? It was known that irrespective of which government came in place, this individual would still be there to carry on with government services.
Yep.
It didn't matter.
And they are not political at all.
No.
They're doing the right thing. I am PS for roads. I am PS for roads because I understand what roads is. I understand how government functions. I understand how the government works. I know if we put this is a project, I will only be referring to, so what do we have? This is the policy. This is the law. This is the program. Is it budgeted for? Yes. Is the budgeted? Have you ticked the boxes? Then I will sign off the money. But now, that's not what we see.
But you know,
I was brought into this office so that this government, we have to do this, we have to do the roads, we have to do 100,000 roads. Wewe ndio umekalia pesa, fungua pesa ndio tujenge mabarabara.
You know, if you think about it, there is an element that is often lost, and this to me is a very valuable element. When you have people rising up the ranks, the people who work under them, even if they're transferred, they are known. It's the government. People know each other within government. And they know this person can do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
We've worked with him. We've seen him over the years. We know this person. Okay? Now, that guarantees that even the people who work below them will seek to do what needs to be done. But when it is politicized and someone comes in and the first thing they do is they reshuffle so many things, you're not really even sure what on earth is going on.
And you know why that is true? And what you're saying as well is that because there are actually, and it's because we must disabuse ourselves from the notion that all projects that start end like this. That's not true. Because there actually are roads that start and are completed
Yes.
and actually function
Yes.
well.
Yes.
And are 100% according to design. They exist. So
They do.
how in the same space can those ones exist, and you also have this debacle also existing in the same space? It is that element of impunity that we talk about that says, well, actually, you know what? We know what's supposed to be done, but we're just going to not do it because, my pocket takes precedence over anything else, or my schmoozing with these other people takes precedence over anybody else or anything else. So that's why you can have an A-grade road operating in the same space as Uji.
Wait.
Aye.
Wait. You don't do. You are right. To understand it, just look at this Mombasa Road. When President Kibaki brought the Chinese to build it, Kenyan contractors had been given this road. This road, you know what we're saying? The road wasn't moving, in all honesty. Every time they were supposed to do something, the jams on this road, I mean, it was unbelievable. So, the late former president brings in these people. And we started seeing things we had never seen. They were working 24 hours, literally.
Yeah.
Day and night, literally. And when you were told, it's going to be 3 lanes, you're saying, where's the 3 lanes going to fit? Oh, the 3 lanes appeared all right.
Yep.
And they've been there. The damage you see on this road came about when they were building this expressway. This road was a very, very good road. Then someone decided that they're going to paint the markers on the road so that you know the demarcation. All it took was some heavy rain, and suddenly you're wondering now, this road,
Where was it?
And was it really yellow? Was it brown paint that they put on this thing here? Now, the moment that becomes a norm, where you have a situation where shoddy workmanship, a complete total absence of accountability, then the issues of even death become an issue that isn't of great concern.
No.
That you're talking about, people are dying because of the consequences. When the consequences hit home, it isn't, and you know why it's not an issue? Because you don't hear of prosecutions. You don't hear of people being held to account. So at some point, I think the citizenry give up. They figure, something, nothing's going to happen.
Yep.
And why? When we've had cases where you think accountability ought to be brought to the fore, and you've had people risking their necks and whistleblowing, God Almighty, the thing that happened to whistleblowers in this country, you look once and realize, I'm never blowing any whistle.
In fact,
Even the whistle that I have, I've
I don't
broken
have a
it.
mouth. In fact,
Which mouth? What?
Shut.
How do they blow whistle?
Shut.
Me?
Did you see it? No.
But you're standing
But
in
he said,
no?
No.
But
The
you
place I'm
went, no?
standing, he said, no.
I was not
That's just
there.
completely no. The other contractor, how can I possibly know the contractor? But he came to the office. I wasn't there on that day. Now, people get into defense mode, and all you do is you figure, something. Somewhere along the line, I'm going to be blamed for this thing, So why don't I just take a slice for myself also?
Yeah.
So when I'm blamed,
At least
I feel okay. Yeah, sure. There's a right to be blamed here.
I'll be guilty of something.
I'll be guilty of something. But I can be guilty and I did nothing and I've received nothing.
Yeah.
So I might as well receive something.
Yeah.
Now, by the time we get to a point where that becomes the norm, the sort of trouble we're in is explained by the statement you made. These projects will never be completed.
They will not.
No, they will not. They will not.
So they become generational projects.
We
Yes.
have to go back to a public service that serves the public. And the leaders who come in, who are elected politically, and those, it's okay for a president to appoint whoever as cabinet secretaries. They'll be vetted for their suitability and all, but they don't have experience in public service. And we shouldn't assume that they do.
Nope.
You cannot have somebody who has no experience in public service, no experience in how the government functions, coming in and taking up that role of accounting officer for billions of shillings.
For goodness sake.
And everybody who works under you, supposedly, knows this work better than you do.
Yes.
How do you think that thing's going to work out?
They'll sabotage you proper.
And you
Or you
actually
sabotage them.
Or you sabotage them properly.
in just the
because
name of you coming there and you're showing, you know me, I'm the one
I'm
who
the
talks
one.
to boss.
Then you want to make the rest of this whole battalion of people seem incompetent.
Yeah.
And who's going to suffer
Because
the
of you.
The people you're supposed to serve, they'll get the short end of that stick continuously.
Yep.
That's what's going to happen. It is this look, we can say whatever you want, but it is this same behavior, and that's what Chris Maura is saying. That's how you get a petrol operator who's then been nominated to be a consular general in another country. That is how it happens. That is how you see some chick somewhere who doesn't know how to spell engineer, and suddenly she's a contractor for a road something because she knows somebody who knows somebody. For goodness sake. And those are the things that we see happening today.
Yep.
That's what's happening. So once you want to ask yourself, what is the value that you place on life? And I'm not talking about dead. I'm talking about the value that you place on life to live, to operate every day from point A to point B. What does that mean? It means using your infrastructure in the name of roads. It means using your public transport system, whatever that may be. It means being able to access 1, 2, 3. It means being able to access your passport at immigration. It means being able to go to an office and getting something done. That's the value we're talking about. What value do you place on life to be able to live every day? And it is unfortunate, but we can see that the value that you place, by the nature of the fact that you're appointing people who don't know their nose from their big toe. Yeah, that's the kind of value that you're putting.
Big toe.
Yes, big toe and nose almost can look the same. They don't know the difference.
They all point forward.
Then now, they all point forward, my brother. You've said it. That is how now when you put people there, that's the kind of value that you place. Until and unless you want to get rid of those two things, you want to get rid of this impunity and bad manners that we talk about, and you want to get rid of this mediocrity when it comes to getting things done. When you decide that you want to get rid of those two things and place proper value on life, I'm telling you, we'll see till things start to change. Until then, Enterprise Road, my dear, is going to remain like
Go and swim.
Ah.
Go and swim on Enterprise Road. You need to move from one end of Enterprise to the other. Swim. That's the only way you'll deal.
And if you can't swim, learn
Yeah.
to swim.
Yeah.
But we'll not stop talking about it all.
You come from any of these other areas, Judero, Kangemis, Jui, Regen, wherever on the road to Nakuru, and you want to cross from one end of the road to the other, fly. Fly.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.